Les Nobodies presents Unica Monet's first children's book, Show and Tell. Find out what happens when a teacher uses her class's show and tell time to give each student an opportunity to share some facts about the culture where they're from. Read with your children and discover that it is time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength.
Yay, look at me being on time, but like 24 hours after. But it's at 3:33, and that's what matters. Welcome to the Planetary Forecast, y'all. Today's Planetary Forecast, we're gonna go over the dates from September 5th to September 12th, so Monday through Monday. Even though today's Tuesday, don't judge me. I'm sorry, we out here. um, Hold on one second as I get myself together on the other platforms. As you guys know, I be on multiple platforms at a time, and that's always fun for me. Boom. There we go. All right. So, just talking about like where we started off with the week. As far as yesterday went, September 5th, we had the sun, which is the solar, plexus chakra area of our space, was on the spotlight. Our throat chakra was on the spotlight in that realm, with the sun being in Virgo in the first house, and that's in regards to chart. For those of you guys who don't know, we have different charts. It depends on like what your point of origin is and what relation to that point of origin is. So with the tropical chart, that's more so as far as your psyche goes, and that's like directed towards like Aries 0 degree. More so where your emotions lie at, and yours. We don't really get into the nakshatras unless I'm doing your personal, planetary reading. But as far as on a grand scale, I don't really get into nakshatras. But today we will get into declinations, though, so you guys can see where we're at on the declination chart, which is a little different. Declination charts is more so like going by the equator, the point of the equator on Earth, so where it is in the sky. So not only are planets moving forward fast, slow to where it looks like a retrograde, planets are also moving up and down. So they move up and down and forward. The way stocks move, the way the heart rate moves, the heart monitor lines, all that stuff, planets move exactly the same way. So we're going to get into the plan so you guys can see how they're going up and down and I always love to add new information to the planetary forecast. Back to the sun. We have the sun and our throat chakras right now with Virgo being ruled by Leo energy. As far as the sidereal chart goes, the sun is still in Leo, sitting in actually the fixated energy of Leo at 17 degrees. And then with like the declination, it's at 6 cardinal Leo energy. When we're dealing with declinations, we're moving up, and we're in the fixated energy of Leo when we're doing our sidereal, and we're in the fixated Virgo energy when we're dealing with tropical. So, you have a little bit of both energies going on, with the ego being in between like your heart chakra, because we know Leo energy is associated with the heart chakra, tapping into your inner child, tapping into creative energy, romantic energy, and that's all sitting on your heart. And your mind is on paying attention to details, organizing, analyzing, that harvest energy of manifestation and materializing. A lot of people feeling geared towards getting things ready in order. We got school in session for whatever grade that you're in. School is starting. That's getting yourself, into details, getting yourself ready in order, etc., etc. As far as the moon goes, we started off the week in our tropical calendar with the moon in that cardinal Capricorn energy in the fifth house, still sitting in that heart house of Leo, right? Capricorn energy is associated with the root chakra. So creating groundedness, discipline, infrastructure is definitely what's going on inside. Again, coming back to the fact that school is starting around this time for any and all ages, and it also affects how people are operating in their work schedule and stuff like that. Just all those different things. A lot of our teachers, getting their work schedule, anybody that's like associated with the education system. Oh, I didn't even realize that Facebook is blocking my live. That's crazy. Me and Facebook go back and forth a lot. That's so crazy. Even my business page. My business page don't have nothing to do with nothing. Whew. It be the petty for me, but it's cool. It is what it is. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with Mark Zuckerberg's thinking ass. um, if you guys can't see this on YouTube, you can also find me on Instagram because that is dusty. There we go. And I'm on Twitter now. Mercury, that's our decision making mind. That's how we make decisions. That's how we think, how we express ourselves. Expressing isn't always just like verbal, like communication. It's also dance, writing, music, whatever, your body language, whatever, what have you. And as far as our mindset goes, that cardinal energy of Libra, which is associated with our making decisions that's related to creating balance and fairness, a lot of things in your space, time and space have been like very, very imbalanced. The certain they need to be. However, we got all the Virgo energy around. So it's like calling you to pay attention to the details of the fact that things aren't how they need to be, balanced and stuff like the energy, and be like, hey, it's time to create some balance. It's time for some reciprocity giving. Something has to give. Me speaking personally, my decision making skills is me giving in and getting out of what I put into my business. I haven't been giving as much as I could be, and I would like to hit the ground running with giving and organizing myself, and tapping into this Virgo Capricorn Libra energy. And it's sitting in the second house, so it's in the house of material wealth. So you being tapped into making decisions in regards to some level of reciprocity and balancing the scales and giving, so that you can return in equal amounts and stuff like that. That's going to assist you in your material world, how you materialize the things that you're trying to get done. Now, as far as our heart set goes, which is that the sidereal chart, Mercury is still sitting in Virgo energy, is actually in that fixated Virgo energy. So just paying close attention to detail with your heart, making decisions with your heart as far as like nurturing, harvesting, materializing, analyzing, learning how to group things into their specific spot. That's most definitely happening. And people paying attention to certain things. It's like, in the summertime, you kind of have fun and it's kind of carefree, but now it's time to, get some business in motion and stuff like that. And that's still sitting in the second house. So being tapped into that, and your heart brings like the materials and the wealth and all that fun stuff, dealing with that Taurus house. That house is actually currently being ran by Leo. The second house is in Leo right now. So it's bringing like that child, like playfulness energy into that space or whatever. So like tapping into your like inner child and what made you happy when you were a kid and what you say you wanted to be when you grow up. It's definitely a good time for that right now. It's always a good time for that. Definitely a good time for that right now. As far as declinations go, Mercury is actually moving southbound at the moment. We are in cardinal Virgo energy at 6 degrees 17 minutes. So that is fun. You'll see Virgo start to move downward. Um, Venus is like our what makes us feel good, and on this plane, usually what makes us feel good is love, romance, and wealth, money, materialism, all that different stuff like that. So, Venus, our heart chakra, has yesterday we started the day off at 30 degrees 0 minutes Leo, so it was literally right there at the deadline of entering another zodiac energy. Sitting in the first house as well. So Venus is on the mind of all. Everybody's kind of like tapped into that love energy. What makes you feel good, boosting your self-esteem, boosting your self-confidence, all those different things has been on the forefront of people's minds and hearts at the moment. Materializing things, all fun stuff. As far as the sidereal chart goes, we started off the week with Venus at 4 degrees 55 minutes Leo in the first house, being ruled by Leo, and that's always fun. With playful and how you pursue your pinnacles, like I said, tapping into your inner child with how you pursue your as far as declinations go, we're in fixated energy of Leo, and we're moving north. We're going up. Venus is on the up, and that's fun. As far as Mars goes, Mars is our motivation energy. This is the battery in our body, the battery pack. What gets you going? Also, what pisses not necessarily pisses you off, but like that anger. What anger looks like you on you. How does anger get you going? How does being elated get you going? Just different like just pushing. What's your push buttons? What are your push buttons that get you to move in the physical? Right now it's in that cardinal energy of Gemini. The planets are slowly aligning to my natal chart. I love it. My birthday is on the way. My natal Mars is in Gemini, so I'm very happy about this. We're in that cardinal energy of Gemini, so being motivated by your community, communicating with others, just that being in that circle of space is a good circle to be in if you're ready to start doing things and getting things done. And if some of your aspirations and things are community based, it's time to go out to the community and actually start doing things. Yeah, it's a good time to do that. And it's sitting in the 10th house. The 10th house is the house of achievements and aspirations and all the different things. And of course, Taurus energy is ruling the 10th house, getting closer and closer to my natal chart. Um, but 10th house and Taurus energy seems to go one and the same to me in my mind, because like Taurus energy is all about materializing, and it's about pinnacles and pleasure seeking and all those different things. So to have like your aspiration and your achievement house being ruled by such a house that's really like reliable in that realm of things, is pretty dope. Now, as far as the sidereal goes, we have Mars in that fixated Taurus energy in the 10th house being ruled Aries. Yeah, this 10th house in Aries on the sidereal chart, bringing in new beginnings as far as your aspirations and achievements. So some of you guys probably like lost a job, like me, walking out on a job, getting ready to walk out of the job, or getting ready to walk into a new job, a new space, new business opportunities with this Aries energy sitting on the 10th house. And that's always fun, being motivated to move into that. But that goes, Mars is in that fixated. It's kind of like on the cusp of fixated and mutable energy at 20 degrees 3 minutes. 20 degrees 32 minutes. But Mars is on north. Mars is, excuse me. I don't know why I couldn't talk for a second. No, Mars is moving north right now in the Taurus energy in the 10th house. And that's what I have for that. Jupiter is like our place of wisdom, luck, generosity. I always say it's like father energy. As far as like the nice dad, the gentle giant dad. Like that's what we're talking about when we talk about Jupiter energy. And right now it's sitting in that fixated energy. Jupiter is actually still in retrograde. We started off the week with Jupiter in retrograde. It is in Pisces energy. So like definitely tapping into spirit more, meditating, aligning yourself with spiritual type activities, just being in alignment with that kind of energy is definitely where it's at. It's going to create a power space for you because this energy is sitting in the 8th house of power, also sitting in the 8th house of transformation, death, and rebirth. So you guys are dealing with, again, coming back to that Aries energy we were talking about just a planet ago. With Mars. But if any guys are dealing with any type of death in your family, friends, business, relationships, workspaces, any type of anything, just know that that's the energy of transformation. When things go away, new things come anew, and that's just a circle of the way everything goes. It's just a matter of in this life. It's even in this life where everything is so material and earthy and solid. The goal is to learn to move like water. When you learn to move like water instead of trying to move like air, where you're trying to fill up space at all times with what you're being called to do and stuff, or you're trying to move like fire, where you're just always trying to take over a space or take over a room or just take over. Like, that doesn't always work either. The best way to move in this space and time in this realm is like water. Um, Honestly, that's the energy with Jupiter and Pisces in the eighth house, which we know is the Scorpio house. That's really what that energy brings, is water time. And that's in the sidereal chart. Did we talk about Jupiter in the tropical chart, which is our mindset? I don't think so, but it is in the cardinal energy. It's still in retrograde. It's in the cardinal energy of Aries. So Jupiter energy, that Papa energy, is bringing in new beginnings, and it's still sitting in the eighth house of transformation. So Jupiter is just here to just give y'all all things anew. It's time to start new things. Your luck and your generosity and the wealth and all those things that you've been praying for and hoping for and asking, you know, the energy above you for, is going to come to you by tapping into these new beginnings and walking through them with your hands up and your arms out open and just ready to receive whatever is going to be given to you, because that's for you. That's what you asked for. It just doesn't always come in the way that we will hope. And a lot of the ways that we hope that it will come is more so based upon man-made indoctrination. See, one thing we have to realize is spirit doesn't recognize man-made indoctrination, man-made manifestations as what we're praying for. When we pray for something, the universe is going to give us something universe made. Universe made this, so I'm going to give you what I make. I'm not going to give you something man-made. That's up for you to make it. If you want something man-made, you have to tap into your power and actually make those things, not come to me and ask for them. All I can do is give you the things that I know how to make, that I've made, which is nature and natural things. And I can give you people in your life because I made those. I can give you, energy. I can give you a mindset. I can give you, dendrite connections. I can give you health. I can give you those things, because those are the things that I made. But if you come into me asking me for a house and car and money stuff that you guys make, that's out of my realm. That's something that you have to put your hands together and create yourself. But I can give you the tools that I know how to make to assist you in doing that. Does that make sense? I hope so, because that was definitely a word that's been on my heart, that's been replaying in my mind. Like, y'all gotta say this, gotta say this. You gotta let them know, especially in this space and time where it's time to start harvesting things. Be more intentional with who you're speaking to when you're trying to harvest certain things and certain energies is very important. But that's what we got for Jupiter in the tropical and the sidereal. Now, as far as the declination chart, we got Jupiter going north. So Jupiter is northbound. It's actually in the cardinal energy of Pisces at 1 degree 6 minutes, and we're still in the eighth house of transformation. So Jupiter is still bringing, power, energy, renewal, transformation, all of that into our realm. Definitely tap into spirit with the Jupiter energy. I give you an example. Personally, my Jupiter is in Leo. I am a fire energy. If I don't learn how to move like this water that's happening with this Pisces energy, what's going to happen is whatever I'm asking for with my Leo energy is going to clash, because what does water do to fire? It extinguishes it. So that's like a matter of me learning how to chill out, talk to spirit, talk to the water about what to do with my fire, instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to use my fire during a water situation. Like, that's not it's a way to go about it to where I can still get what I need, and I can still be tapped into my natal chart in the process of getting what I need. I just have to learn how to navigate around what's going on outside of me. Energy awareness is key. And if you're interested in joining any of my energy awareness therapy things, let me know. I would gladly inbox you a link. I do the first 22 minutes free. Anyway, Saturn is like the challenges that we have in our space and time. These are the different things that we go through. Definitely energy of infrastructure, that cardinal energy, being a space of authority, which is where a lot of challenges come from, right? Because a lot of us don't like to be authorized by outside energies. We don't even like to be authorized by inside energy. So to be authorized by outside energy is a lot for us to handle. And that's where a lot of challenges come in, because Saturn is also associated with a very earth energy in a space where we're supposed to be learning to move like water. Saturn, as far as the tropical chart, which is our mindset, is sitting on the cusp of that fixated immutable energy at 20 degrees 21 minutes. Saturn is also in retrograde with Jupiter sitting up in Aquarius, which is the energy of like social rebellion, detachment. So it's like a lot of energy there as far as my Aquarius placement babies go. Learning to be a part of social spaces, learning when to detach and when not to detach, having some type of order or structure in that realm of things, social rebellion, all that different stuff. And it's sitting in the sixth house. So it's wherever like your daily routines, your health, your wellness, that kind of realm is being affected by Saturn right now, as far as learning how to have like a different kind of order. Thank you. Did you finish it? Okay. Just a matter of learning how to navigate through Saturn, and you utilize that Aquarius energy, which is really about like being an individual, being, but don't be so caught up and being detached and being an individual and things like that that you forget that we're part of the same one song. Especially when creating this like daily routine infrastructure. Now, as far as the heart set, Saturn is still sitting in Capricorn energy. It's actually sitting in that mutable energy of Capricorn energy. So we're starting to learn how to, adapt, be a little bit more adaptable with the infrastructure that we create for ourselves, the internal laws. See, with Jupiter, I think of like that gentle giant daddy, but with Saturn, it's like Joe Jackson, like I'll beat your ass, but I still love you. And if you listen to me, shit's gonna be great. You'll be the next MJ. Like, those are the comparisons that I make, like in my layman's terms. That's what Saturn is bringing to you. Now, Saturn and Capricorn is back to my natal chart because my Saturn personally is in Capricorn energy. So a lot of the challenges and the infrastructure I get is from me being a doorkeeper, a gatekeeper in the spirit, in my realm of things of where I'm in charge at, because I'm a Leo rising. So, um, whether it's my home or and I believe this is sitting in my fifth house, so it's more so in my creativity realm, which is like my business or with my children and stuff like that. That's where a lot of my challenges lie. um Now, with Saturn sitting in retrograde in Capricorn, it's kind of like help giving you guys a chance to slow down, because it's also immutable Capricorn, but it's giving you guys a chance to slow down, take a deep breath, go back to the drawing board, find out what structure worked for you, which one not so much. Maybe you want to tweak some things that you put on your to-do list, or like how you want to be and stuff like that. And again, that's sitting in the sixth house of your daily routine. So it's okay to go back to the drawing board and be like, how I've been planning out my days. They don't really fit me. They don't really fit, what I needed to, how I wanted my day to go. It's not really serving me. This is a good time to go back into that space. Now, retrograde is not necessarily the planet moving backwards and things rewinding. It's like the planet is moving so slow. Like, it's like, imagine everything in space is moving through energy, is moving through thickness, air thickness, or water. Air is water. All this stuff is the same to me. But say it's moving through a certain space where the air is thicker than usual, or the water is thicker than usual. So it causes it to move slower. But it's moving so slow in comparison to all the other planets that's like, hey, you in a slow spot over there. What's up? And that's why it moves slow in the same around the same times every year, because that air thickness is the same in that area. It's like trying to go through the Bermuda Triangle every year. Like every year we got to go through the Bermuda Triangle to get to the other side. And we just move real slow. And if they move so slow that compared to how fast our planet is moving, it appears to move backwards. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare kind of speed past. I sped past you so many times, and then you got to be mindful that we're moving in multiple directions at one time, and everything's moving at the same time in different directions. It's crazy. But yeah, it's not necessarily moving backwards. It's the appearance that is moving backwards because it's slowed down so much. And that's something to look forward to. It's not something to be dwelling. Be mindful. They did that whole challenge with sticking quarters to your forehead. That should have let y'all know that we are magnets, and we attract things with our mindset, because this is where the magnet is. So if you're glooming and dooming a retrograde, guess what? Your magnet is going to attract the gloom and doom of a retrograde. That's what's going to happen, because that's what your mind is on. Those are the words you're speaking. That's the energy you're putting out. I don't feel that way. As far as declination goes, Saturn is moving south and it's in the fixated energy of Capricorn in the sixth house. Uranus is in the fixated energy, also moving in retrograde. So we got Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus in retrograde. It's in Taurus. I love Uranus being in Taurus, and I'll tell you why. Because Uranus is the energy. This is the progressive energy. This is the energy that brings progressive change. The analogy that I always make, especially for you, those of you guys who have been watching my show for years, and you guys hear me say the same thing over and over again, because I always like to talk like every episode is a new person that never seen my episodes. So I find myself saying the same thing sometimes on every episode, but it's okay. With Uranus, it's like, say you keep calling that friend, like, yo, I'm so tired of this, I'm so tired of this. And you know what happens after a while? That friend be like, look, you can't call my phone complaining about the same thing no more. I'm tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it. That's Uranus. That response right there is Uranus. What are you going to do different? Because you can't keep calling me for this. What's about to change? And that sparks something in you like, oh yeah, I got to do something. So, I love that progressive change energy. I love the fact that it's in Taurus because it's really changing what we find pleasure in. Taurus energy is that pleasure seeking energy. Taurus energy is like, what makes you feel good. And on this plane of Palladians, we have people who feel good mostly when they're dealing with money. And dealing with love and romance. It's like love and romance is fun. I enjoy it. I just don't be all up in it the way a lot of these tarot readers and other people do be. And I'm like, dang, can I get a reading about my pentacles? Like, you're dealing with a Virgo stellium, Capricorn stellium over here. Stop giving me them love readings. But it's really changing the flavors of that because a lot of people have been caught up in shallow energy or superficial energy as far as what raises their self-esteem, what raises their pleasure sensors. And to have Uranus in this energy saying, no, we're going to change that is really dope. And just to give you a little insight, Uranus has been in Taurus since March 15th, 2019. And that's a really cool day. Why? Because that was a day that, all our bills got put on hold. They started with these COVID stimulus checks and all that. And that really changed people's minds on how they view jobs. A lot of people aren't going back to work. They just fucking refuse. And I love it here. Let this shit crumble. You hear me? A lot of these jobs are asinine and a lot of these jobs promote environmental destruction. So like I'm here for keep boycotting the jobs. I'm here for it. It does not bother me, not one bit. So it's like, changing that, changing the money, changing the bills, changing what made people feel good. People start feeling good about that level of superficial stuff. Why? Because they no longer had access to it. Also changing the way people eat, like the pleasure seekers that eat. Taurians love to eat. But like, just changing what you consume. A lot of people have been doing that. Sitting by yourself for like 2 years in quarantine. A lot of people got on healthier diets because of COVID and what they were saying, and people saying, oh, you could detox yourself doing this and you just need to be healthy doing that and this, that, and the third, and really care about yourself. That's a lot of Uranus energy. It was a lot of Uranus energy in the money. It was a lot in the health. It was a lot in paying attention to Hollywood under a different set of eyes. Like, we not really finding pleasure in a lot of the stuff y'all doing. It's starting to seem weird now, especially because now we see like how much y'all really make money off of us because y'all trying even harder now. I remember, I don't know if anybody listens to Griselda, but the one dude off of Griselda was making bread, like charging people like $200-$300 to do a verse on his album. He was barely promoting the album. He was just taking people's money. I recall, I want to say it was Freeway that was doing the same thing. It was a lot of artists that were doing that. And I'm like, why are you paying $300-$400 to put a verse to somebody's song? They're not marketing your stuff. They're not doing anything. And it's like a 30-minute song. He just like jam packed everybody's verses on it there. Nobody listening to that song, bro. You might, but are you listening to everybody else's? Just be mindful. So it's just like Uranus was like, yeah, we finna switch all this up because the stuff y'all paying attention to and the stuff y'all caring about is just like it's not real. It's not real. That's it. That's the statement. And we're just seeing just how much not real it is, and it's beautiful. And it's sitting in the ninth house. And the ninth house is the house of higher education, just edifying yourself. That's the Sagittarius house, and right now it's ruled by Aries. Aries energy is the energy of new beginnings. So it's like, you providing yourself with that level of information is bringing you to a space of new beginnings, and that's always cool. So like, peace, welcome to the Planetary Forecast. So, like, I'm Uranus right now is my favorite planet right now. We just out here chilling. I'm waiting for the day that everything gets dismantled because I'm sick of this shit. Y'all, anybody listen to my music or anything that I do, y'all already know how I am. And Uranus will be in Taurus until April 26, 2026. And I find that super duper interesting. I don't know what's scheduled to happen in 2026 because that doesn't sound like an election thing or anything. April 26th is actually my mother's birthday. And if you get into like the numbers of it, you got like 4, which is stability, balance. Then you got 8, which is, Mayat. Then you have another 8. Well, if you do the 2026, then you got a 10 and you got a 1. So 4, 8, and 1, that's okay. And then you got the 13 all together. Okay. And then you got 4 back to stability. I'm here for it. I love numbers. So anybody want a numerology reading, I'm here for it. I love it. But yeah, okay. So the numbers sound fun. I'm feeling like, by the time Uranus exits out of Taurus on 4/26/26, it'll be a nice sense of completion there. It'll be a nice sense of a full phase, a full 13 stage phase, and I'm here for it. Neptune is like our subconscious, excuse me. It's like that sixth sense. Is our dreams, you know, everything that's coming from the sense of our crown chakra, the sense of our third eye chakra, and that's always fun. And Neptune is also in retrograde, so you have Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, and now we have Neptune in retrograde. As far as the tropical chart goes, it's sitting in that fixated Pisces energy in the eighth house being ruled by Pisces. So you have the subconscious sitting in spirit. A lot of people have been called a spirit. I see a lot of people triggered by people being called like, wow, y'all spiritual. All y'all playing with sage and Palo Santo sticks and this is the devil and don't play with tarot cards. Like I hear a lot of that. You can't control how someone chooses to speak to spirit. It's not up to you to control. You don't have to be okay with how someone chooses to speak to spirit, but you are not appointed to tell someone else how they speak to spirit. How they speak is them, and that's their EMF, and that's how their magnet is tuned to speak with spirit. As long as someone is taking the time out to speak to spirit, that should be enough. You understand? I don't It doesn't really bother me how you choose to speak to them, what apparatus or medium you choose to speak to them through, whether it's through a book, through you praying, through you singing songs, through cards, through crystals, through just plain frequency sounds. It really doesn't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to you because it's still creating one sound. Universe is still being created. Ashe. This is sitting in retrograde, so it's slowing down, giving us like extra time to talk to spirit. Spirit communication has slowed down because we have to learn how to slow down. Like, this world that we live in is designed for us not to pay attention to our true purpose here, our true contribution to this realm is literally designed for us never to have time to do that. A lot of people don't have time to pray. A lot of people don't have time to meditate. And I ain't talking about no 15-minute meditation session on YouTube. I'm talking about 2-3 hours. I'm talking about being quiet for 30 to 60 days. Y'all not making time to do that. And that's the stuff that we need to be making time to do, because that's how you really channel in spirit. You might be so good that you hear a sound or two from spirit within a 15-minute meditation. But could you imagine if you were meditating for like 3-4 hours a day? If you were using that job shift to just sit down and be quiet and be with yourself and go through a whole thing with yourself, feel your feelings, feel everything that you got to feel instead of sitting in front of a screen. If we sit by ourselves too long, the first thing we do is pick up our phone and go try to talk to somebody else. What you doing? Post a status, take a picture. Like, a lot of people don't know how to be to themselves. I love being by myself. You hear me? I love it. I love it. I'm addicted to it. I could do it forever. I could be quiet for weeks. It just bothers the people around me, honestly. And when my kids get older, trust and believe, I'm gonna be going on my silent sabbaticals. You hear me? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sometimes it gets difficult for me to open my box back up after I've been silent for so long. It irritates me to even use my voice. Like, I don't really want to talk. I'm not off of this. I want to be quiet. And I don't mean no harm. Just not up for this right now. But it is like, the way the bill system is set up in this realm, and the fact that people are not fully educated on how they can operate above these bills and operate above all those things, it really prevents people from really tapping in and sitting in their purpose and sitting in what they're supposed to be doing and having those conversations that they should be having. And it's unfortunate, and I really hope that you guys sitting with me on a weekly basis and listening to my music and listening to my lives and my moments with sunshine where I be downloading and stuff like that. I hope that does assist you guys to get into a better space, because it is important. As far as the sidereal chart, which we get into your heart set, we're dealing with Neptune, and it's right at that 29 degrees. So it's at that like, hello, I'm almost finished. In Aquarius, it's still sitting in a retrograde space, but it's in Aquarius in the eighth house, being ruled by Aquarius. And so with Neptune sitting in Aquarius is like that, as far as your heart goes, subconsciously definitely being spoken into about being a social revolutionary in your heart. What I think a lot of activists and beings of that nature coming out, and we'll get into an outer planet about that momentarily, and we'll talk a little bit more on that activist mindset, because we do have a dwarf planet that has been keeping us in this activism mindset for since the 1920s, and we'll get into that. But Neptune sitting in Aquarius energy, definitely putting you in and talking to spirit through your heart of doing more things for the social realm of yourself, being a revolutionary, tapping into activism and creating transformation in that space whilst doing so. As far as declination chart goes, we're at 3 degrees 22 minutes south in Aquarius. That house is still being ruled by the eighth house. Now Neptune has been in Pisces since February 14th, 2012. An interesting date. When we came back, in fact, I'm going to what on February 12th. So what I remember was that was the day that Gaddafi was assassinated. But like, let's talk about it. Hold on. There's a couple websites that I be going on that be telling me like what happened on this day. As far as February 14th, 2012, um, we had a lot of stuff that happened before that. Oh, okay, Jamie Herrera, which was a cartel boss in Mexico, he was arrested in 2012. That was pretty much it. But previously, like on this day, as far as February 14th goes, we have the Valentine's Day massacre. Um, Penicillin was discovered. Arizona becomes the 48th state. That's fun. Um, Banking problems occurred. NASCAR. They held their first race on February 14th. Tornadoes in 2000. There was a UK smoking ban in 06. I don't know why I thought that. Oh, this is music. I don't care about that. I had this big. I don't know why that stayed in my head about that. But it was like this whole thing that happened on that day. But it is what it is. I won't be hung up on it. But I cared. And now it's not up here no more. And that's cool. Not really. Somebody was assassinated on that day. Or was it the day after? Whatever. Um But that's what we have going on. Neptune will actually exit Pisces energy on January 26, 2026. So 2026 is a good year. We got some outer planets exiting and entering a new zodiac energy, which is like really cool, very exciting. Because what happens after Pisces? That's like Aries, right? So, we'll have spiritual new beginnings in 2026. Exciting, on top of Uranus entering Gemini energy. Oh shit. Yeah, that's gonna be fly. We gonna have some dope ass technology. Yeah, we gonna be coming back to the perfection X energy. That's my prediction. We're gonna be telepathic again, y'all. Hey, I'm here for it. Um, as far as Pluto being the planet of transformation, Pluto is the space of power, occultism, most definitely. Definitely is like Pluto is just like the energy of your power seat. It deals with sex, death, and rebirth and stuff like that. Pluto is sitting in that mutable energy, 26 degrees, 22 minutes. Pluto is also in retrograde. So we have Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all in retrograde, chilling. Pluto is in Capricorn in the fifth house. That fifth house is being ruled by Sagittarius energy right now, which is like higher education. So providing transformation in your infrastructure, in your inner authority and outer authority figures, all of that fun stuff, right? That's really interesting and important. And it is happening as far as like people aren't even paying attention to like politics. The people that are, they're probably infiltrating the politics. They have a new mindset, heart set. They're vocalizing politics different. Like magnets are being tuned. That's a big infrastructure thing. Also, schools, the board of education, teachers. I actually got an email asking me to participate and assist in the board of education and like, restructuring how they do things, which is pretty cool. And it just goes to show like the transference of power that's going on now. Like now we want to give the power back to the parents and teachers because we see like, us giving the power to the federal government or to this one or to whoever is giving us the biggest paycheck has not been working. What else? Just different places, jobs. A power is going right back to the hands of the people. Why? Because people are learning that if it's not for me, then I'm not going to be here. If this is not benefiting me, then I'm not going to be here. And I don't really care how that affects you or your company or your business. It's me and mine and I. And that's important in that realm of things. Not always important in the house and stuff like that, interacting with other people and doing what you got to do for the community. But when it comes to these dusty ass corporations, hell yeah, do that shit. All those different mindsets are coming to the forefront. People are basking in them, and that's pretty cool. Just like taking your power back from these structures is pretty interesting to me. Um, Now, as far as the sidereal chart goes, you have Pluto sitting in that cardinal energy and retrograde still, and Capricorn in the fifth house. So even in the mind and in the heart, we are in the same space. We're still in that Capricorn energy. So it's double Capricorn energy. Like, nah, we gonna get through this. We gonna comb through this. Whether we are in the mutable energy of Capricorn or we're in the cardinal energy of Capricorn. So that's pretty exciting. Still in the fifth house, still ruled by Sagittarius energy, which is like all about elevating your mindset, tapping it back into your inner child with that fifth house, creativity, your inner creative self, all that fun stuff. Now, as far as like the declination chart, we're actually moving south. Pluto's moving south on us at 23 degrees 1 minute, but still in Capricorn in the fifth house. So all three spaces and places, we're like just providing transformation in that structure and authority. All right, leadership roles. Now, as far as your true node, the true node is the path of the moon. And if you get into the Kabbalah, this is like how you'll find your soul tribe and your destiny and all those different things like that. Now, as far as the true node goes, it's sitting in that fixated energy of Taurus. It's at 15 degrees, 33 minutes. It's also in retrograde. So the true node, which is like your destiny, this is the energy that like you have to accumulate or stay in balance of or with in this life. And it's sitting up there with Uranus, which is creating progressive change. So it's just like, yeah, it's happened to this Taurus energy. Change your pleasure seeking sensors. A lot of us, we have allowed our sacral our sacral chakra to control us and to, control our body and control our moves and our spirituality and control our finances and control, like, our currents and our currency. And, the sacral chakra is not the end all be all. We've become, like, just like horse blinders on, only sacral chakra, only what makes us feel good, and that's it. And it kind of creates a weakness when it comes to adversity. And that's not just like on that level, it's also on a health level too. Only, like, doing what feels good on a healthy, like, oh, it only feels good for me to work out 30 minutes every like 5 months. So that's all I'm going to do. It feels good for me to take these like vitamins, even though I know there's no nutritional value in them because they were manufactured instead of me just going outside and eating like fresh fruits and vegetables, stuff like that. All things to be mindful of. And this is sitting in the ninth house, so it's like all about educating yourself. If you educate yourself, you're going to be able to tap into like how you treat your sacral chakra, or how you allow your sacral chakra to treat you on a whole different level, and that's so exciting. As far as the sidereal chart goes, which is our heart set, you got the true node sitting in that. It's like on the cusp of mutable and fixated at 20 degrees 30 minutes, still in retrograde in Aries in the ninth house, ruled by Pisces. So um I love that because, like, it's bringing new beginnings in your destiny, new beginnings in your space as far as like your heart set goes. And then, like, up in your education, it's going to assist you in creating that new beginning in your space that you're trying to create. And it always comes in like a very aggressive energy, because Aries energy is a fire energy. So you're like, dang, I wanted a new beginning in my life, but you ain't have to punch me in my face for me to get it. Well, that's the fire that comes behind this new beginning. It's not a very subtle new beginning. It's one that's going to hit you and hit you hard. Just take it for what it is. Move like water, y'all. Now, as far as the declination chart goes, we're sitting at 16 degrees 44 minutes north in Aries at the ninth house. That's always fun. The ascendant, of course, is the horizon. The rise of the horizon. This is the east horizon sunrise, and it changes every 4 hours, which is why it's important to know what time you were born, actually. So, the ascendant is sitting on the cusp of that mutable energy, right there at 20 degrees 52 minutes in retrograde. Another energy we have in retrograde. So we have Jupiter, we have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, true node, and now we have the ascendant all sitting in retrograde motion. Everybody's slowing down for us to catch up, and I love it. It's sitting in Gemini. So you're rising in Gemini vibes. Community is the talk. Come to the community, especially like, all right, so if you're in tune with like homeschooling and homeschooling mothers, or even just like mothers that still put their kids in school, and you're a teacher or after school, caretaker and stuff like that, creating some type of community around these children is very important. Some type of after school programs, homework help, art programs, places where they can express themselves, wind down, this, that, and the third, and like a constructive environment, a positive, energetic environment. Not positive. I'm not saying that word because we attract electrons, and positive is such a word play, because positive charged particles is things that we actually don't want in our space. Those are actually the things that make us sick. But to say the word like negative, like kind of puts like an emotional invocation in people, and that's so intentional because it makes it so that people don't attract negative energy. Because when you say the word negative, people get upset. So their magnet has been fine tuned to not accept negative energy, but negative energy is actually what you want. Negative energy is actually what charges you. It's actually what gets you going. So you want it. So I don't know. I don't know if I should be the one to start speaking on that vernacular, speaking like that. Like, I hope you have all the negative vibes that you need. But I'll just use the word electrons. Electrons is cool too. Um, but yeah, just the ascendant energy is like the mask that we wear for ourselves, and the mask that we expect other people to wear for us. And it's just like the give and take energy as far as like how we intertwine, and sitting in communication, expression, community, in that 10th house of achievement and aspirations. And we know the 10th house is ruled by Taurus energy right now. So materializing that community, materializing achievements and aspirations, and in regards to community, like I said, all the after school programs and teachers and parents really creating true alliances around these children. And not just the children, like adult education, higher education, all of that, because we're talking about the 10th house here. So it's not just children that reach their pinnacle of space, you know. As far as the sidereal, which is your heart set, we have it at 25 degrees, which is our mutable Taurus energy. It's still in retrograde in the 10th house, 10th house being ruled by Aries in this space and time. And that's pretty cool because it's like, you know, while your mind is on community, your heart is on materializing. Your heart is feeling good, it's pleasure seeking, while you're, and it's kind of like creating that transformation that Uranus is trying to create in Taurus as well. Because now you have the ascendant sitting amongst Uranus and the true node saying, okay, you know, we're going to change what makes you feel good. We're going to change how you've been treating the sacral chakra and how the sacral chakra has been treating you and all those different things. And it's very important. It's interesting. Also, as far as the chart of declination goes, we have it sitting in that fixated 16 degrees 29 minutes north. So we have the ascendant moving northbound towards 10th house. Midheaven, the midheaven is at 27 degrees 16 minutes in Aquarius, 7th house. Now, the midheaven is the middle point of the sky. It changes 1 degree every 4 minutes. Another reason why it's good to know the time you were born when you do your natal chart. It spends about 2 hours in every zodiac. So it changes every 2 hours. Just be mindful of that when you don't know the time that you were born. As far as like the midheaven being an Aquarius energy, it's like midheaven energy is like your aspirations, it's like your achievements, it's like that pinnacle of like success, and it's sitting in that energy that's like rooted in activism. The middle point of the sky, that highest point, is like rooted in like what are you doing for the community, as far as like being active, creating some type of progressional change, this, that, and the third. A lot of that is going to bring success in your life. And it's sitting in the seventh house being about balance, fairness, the laws of Maya, justice, all those things like that. So expect some things happening in courtrooms, you know, some things happening in the realms of law, different laws being passed. You being involved in those different things in some type of way, shape, or form would assist you in your success as well. Learning about those things. I see a lot of people moving towards sovereignty, learning how to communicate with the IRS in a different manner to where you're taking your power back, and instead of you coming as a consumer to the IRS, you are now a producer to the IRS, and now we're having business to get business communication. Moving like a national so that you can have international relationships with these businesses and corporations so that when they trespass against you, they're trespassing against actual treaties and not just disrespecting a consumer that, you know, ain't really too much you can do about it. So changing how you move in these realms is very important. And I say tap in and learn as much as you can. There's a lot of different individuals that you could follow, a lot of videos you could watch, a lot of books you can read. And if you're interested, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Reach out on my website, click on the contact us spot, and let me know what you need, and I'll put you in the direction to the best of my ability to get you there. But that's definitely a thing, and that's popping off in the midheaven. I in my space and time, that's what it's influenced by. Now, as far as the sidereal, which is your heart set, you have midheaven sitting in that cardinal energy of Aquarius. So you have the midheaven sitting in the mutable energy where it's flexing, but then also cardinal where it's taking the lead as well in your heart. Still in the 7th house of one-on-one relationships, creating balance, fairness, the scales, all those different things, sitting in that Aquarius energy of that revolutionary energy, having revolutionary ideas, just being tapped into that space period. Um, as far as the declination chart goes, we're dealing with mutable energy, 26 degrees, 52 minutes north, Aquarius 7th house, and that's always fun. Um, Lilith. Lilith is like the furthest point of the moon's orbit around the Earth. When the moon is the most isolated, this is the area where you need to actually assert your energy. This is usually the space where like whatever triggers you in someone else, like you'll find that's something that triggers you about yourself, and you try to suppress it, but that's really something that you need to let out and put on the outside of you so you can stop being triggered when you see other energies doing the same. Just to, and that's usually like something we do to separate ourselves from another person. Yeah, it's like, oh, sometimes it's I'm better than you, you're worse than me. Sometimes it's just like we're different. Sometimes it's justification to keep a certain level of separatism going on. And all that really is like it's a reflection of me I see in you that bothers me, that I put so much effort into suppressing in myself. And I feel like you shouldn't be showing it out here either. And once you learn how to embrace that part in yourself, you'll be able to learn how to embrace that part in your reflection. This is your primal energy. So this is like, something you would have done innately if you weren't putting so much effort into suppressing yourself out of doing it. Still a deep desire that you have in your space, in your realm, that you would like to exercise. You're just not there yet. The Lilith stays about. I like Lilith because Lilith is so in tune with the nines, and I love my nines. I had my birthday is 9/19/1990. I get all my lessons on the nines, whether it's 9 weeks, 9 days, 9 months. My cycles used to be on the nines, and they still kind of are. They're just not like I'm bleeding for 9 days, but like my cycles still come on the nines. I just love my nines. We cool. We real cool. But Lilith stays in a sign for 9 months, and it takes about 9 years for Lilith to make a full turn and go through all 12 zodiacs. Well, actually, there's more than 12. There's like 14 or 15 that's on the celestial orbit, the orbit that the sun goes through, but we only recognize 12 for some odd reason. I don't know. We can talk about that later on in life because it's clear as day that the sun goes through like 14, 15 of them joints. Um, yeah. So as far as the tropical chart goes, Lilith is sitting in the mutable and the fixated energy at 12 degrees 28 minutes in Leo. Lilith is sitting retrograde with the rest of the celestial bodies. With Lilith, it's like primal desire. Everybody wants to be seen, right? Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be in the center of attention. I spoke to you guys before about the Lyra constellation being on the grand stage of things. We're dealing with the summer triangle with our three major stars, which deal with high intelligence, being seen and heard, being center stage. All those different things. If you guys don't know about that, tap into the last planetary forecast I did back in August. I skipped the last 2 weeks, so it was like I want to say like the August 20th planetary forecast. I got into the summer triangle and the Lyra constellation and all the things that was going on with that. But yes, being seen is where it's at. Tapped into your creative self. A lot of people out here are triggered by creatives and creative self-expression and go get a job, and why is everybody tapped into spiritual stuff, and why everybody doing this, doing that, in between, but nobody's really paying attention to like the whys and the positive sense. It's more so like whys in a complaining type sense, and that's weird. And we want to stop doing that. But it's in the 12th house, so it's all about humanitarian pursuits, being tapped into spirit, being tapped into the meditative realm that you go to, above your crown chakra, because your crown chakra is really just a bridge to the next octave of life. So that's when you hit the 12th house and you're ready to go to the next realm. So, and that's where Lilith is bringing you to, being able to meditate into your creative self, meditate into your heart chakra, meditate back into your inner child or whatever. Because it's like a lot of stuff that you find in other people that trigger you. That was a part of your childish behavior, and you did so much work into suppressing that. And because you suppress that childish behavior in yourself so much, you're not really like fully tuned into who you are as a person and what your placement is, because you suppress a lot. You suppress a big part of you. In order to enjoy the kingdom of God, you must have the eyes of a child. So you're not really going to be able to enjoy everything that's going on if you always have this like know it all, be it all, see it all mindset about things. As far as and it's fun that the 12th house is being ruled by Cancer right now, because like Cancer energy is definitely like tapping into spirit and meditating and going inward into that meditative space, because all the good stuff is inside the shell, right? As far as like Lilith being in your heart set, your sidereal chart, Lilith is in Cancer energy in the 12th house ruled by Cancer. As far as declinations go, we're in the mutable energy at 21 degrees 54 minutes. Lilith is moving north in Cancer, 12th house ruled by Cancer. So as far as like Lilith being in your heart and stuff like that, it's definitely moving in spirit, tapping into spirituality, tapping into your inner spiritual self, so that you can stop being triggered by the inner spirituality of others. For those of you guys who are into that know it all, be it all, see it all, and then you walk into the spiritual realm and you still want to uphold that kind of energy about yourself. You know it all, see it all, be it all, and you need followers and you need people beneath you. And if anybody comes into your realm and they know more than you do, or they're more spiritual, or they meditate more, this, that, and the third than you do, it irritates you. um I don't know what that's going to do for you. It doesn't really sound like it's going to bring you anywhere that you need to be if you're reading things like that, instead of learning how to open your arms and be like, oh, you're a completion of me, or oh, we do the same thing, or we're reflecting each other's energies, or I do the same thing you do, let's align. I see a lot of that when you straddle matrices between being in the economic matrix and being in the spiritual matrix, but doing it in the wrong space, to where like you're utilizing spirituality as an economic tool. And that's cool to a certain extent. It's cool until you find yourself putting down other people's spiritual gifts to market yours, like we were promoting, like tide over gain or something. Like, be mindful of the things that you're doing with the magnet in your third eye. um Chiron is it's a dwarf planet. It's how you turn it gives off the EMFs of how you turn your superpower um from traumas you experienced in your life. A lot of people, when they share their stories and moments where they were victims, and it turns into like a victorious story in the end, or they're selling books, or they're doing TV things, or now they're first responders to trauma people, or different things. It's just like how you turn their trauma into a cape, if you will. How you heal your wounds and utilize your wounds to heal others. And Chiron spends about 4 years in each zodiac. It spends about 7 to 8 years in the Aries zodiac. It likes Aries very much. Um, and it spends about 2 years in Virgo and Libra constellation. So it doesn't really care for Virgo and Libra energy right now. Right now it's actually in Aries. So it's been in Aries for a couple of years now. I'm not. Give me a minute and I'll be able to tell you when to exit. I forgot. But Chiron is in that mutable, well, fixated energy at 15 degrees, 31 minutes. Chiron is also in retrograde with Lilith, the ascendant, the true node, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter. Um, is sitting in Aries in the eighth house. So bringing new beginnings into your life is the movement. Bringing transformation into your space is the movement. For those of you guys who are not sharing your traumas and not turning them into a superpower and not utilizing them to heal other people, you're doing yourself a disservice. Highly recommend it. Start utilizing those stories. When you share your stories, you never know who needs to hear them. They need to hear how you healed and how you triumphed over all of it, and how you transformed and did something new and all that stuff. Like, it matters to people that are sitting around and listening and watching you do what you do. You may not think too much of it. It might, you like, the mindset that you can run away from your trauma is false, because your trauma is always inside of you, is always reacting. When people put you back into that space where you feel like you're experiencing those traumas again, all those different things. So like, if you're attempting to run away from it, you're not going to be able to do a good job. So the best thing to do, in my mind, is to utilize it, to tell your story. Tell it until you make people tired of hearing it. Like, I know when you first open up your throat chakra to tell your story, a lot of emotion is going to come out with it. It's like when you first use your power and it's all over the place. You have to learn how to control it. So you learn how to control it. You learn the places where you can share your story, the places where you can't. You learn discernment. You learn what parts of your story to share in what rooms, what's for what and what's for where. How you learn how to read other people's energies in a space and different things like that. I remember the first time I sat on stage and I spoke about my sexual abuse. I was at a unplugged event and I was very excited because, like, the coordinator of the event, like, he made me feel so comfortable. I was in the mindset where I thought that, I was going to get there. It was going to be very interpersonal. I was finally going to be able to tell my stories. We were going to have healing moments, this, that, and the third. So I went up there and I did what I did. I came up there with my spiritual tools. I created an altar. I offered, people to write their names on a scroll because we were going to meditate healing onto them. While I did, my little piece and all this different stuff because my Chiron is in Cancer. So me tapping in the spirit and all that different stuff like that's me turning my trauma into superpower. I gotta use spirit. I gotta use my spiritual tools, my spiritual gifts. Also, my Chiron being in Cancer says that is maternal figures that I get a lot of my trauma from, which is true. It's a lot of maternal figures that I get a lot of my trauma from, and they affect how I carry myself out in life. And so, I'm way more mindful of that now, and I move a certain kind of way. But and when I got out there and I did my performance, it wasn't received. It wasn't received well. Like, of course, when I finished, I had a couple people come up to me, give me hugs. I didn't know you went through that, this, that, and the third. Thank you for sharing. I love the way you set up your presentation, this, that, and the third. I had a little board with all my photographs up there, and I had like a whole timeline. I just had it. I was just so excited. I was just like I couldn't wait. I was very prepared, and it really hurt my feelings that I put so much energy into it. And while some of the people that were there were receiving, a lot of people weren't. And it was even more so weird that they wouldn't be honest. Like they gave me a hug and was like, "Oh, I love that you did that." There's some people here who aren't really feeling what you did, and then when that other person that they claim wasn't feeling it, they'd be like, "Oh, I love what you did," but some people weren't feeling what you did. Like it was just like a pattern of people just like they had masks on. And it's like, wait, someone told me you didn't like it. So why are you in my face telling me you like it? And then somebody told me you didn't like it. So why are you like somebody's whispering something? And I don't understand why y'all can't just be honest and say that I made y'all feel uncomfortable or this, that, and third. I had one goddess the second time I was on stage at that same venue. I felt her discomfort because I felt like she thought I was about to do the same thing again. And I wasn't because it wasn't the same setting. I've learned discernment. I've learned that, first of all, I was still learning how to tell my story. So for that to be the first time that I tell my story and I was trying to do it in such an elaborate way and a creative way and utilize my music and my art and stuff, it was a big deal to me. And, I was kind of hurt. So I wasn't even trying to go there again. Like, nah, I'm just going to do my music. I'm going to let y'all dance because that's what y'all want to do anyway. And then I'm going to get on up out of here because now I see this ain't the space for healing. This is just the space for entertainment, which I personally am getting tired of. I'm ready to start healing and building. I'm tired of entertainment. The sacral chakra has been in control long enough. You know what I mean? Like I can find entertainment at home by myself. When I go out into the world, I really want to build. I don't want to do this entertainment shit. Um, but like that was just like it was a good experience. It was a good experience for the first time moving forward, learn how to move different. I had a business coach that taught me how to share my story. I shared my story on my website. It's still up there, and it was very interesting to hear people's responses. It was very interesting to hear how some people made it about them. Some people read bits and pieces and got offended and just thought to just defend themselves because they made it about them. Some people read my story and it made them feel compelled to share theirs, and it was healing to hear my story. Just a lot of different responses, and it just created a comfort zone for me to just tell my story. And I'm not telling it in a way where it's like, oh my God, here she goes, like using it as a crutch as a reason. No, I'm putting it on my sleeve now because I spent like over 30 years being quiet about it because I was afraid of responses. And now that I finally get to voice it and I see how important it is to voice it, to see someone like me in a space that I'm in, and 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 I went through the things that I went through, it's inspiring for some people who are still in the spot that I used to be in. You know what I'm saying? And it just gives them a space like, dang, I can get out too. Like when I was younger, I read a lot of cool books that like gave me hope. Like James and the Giant Peach gave me hope. Why? Because I was a little boy that was in an abusive household and he made it out. Um, fucking Harry Potter was another one. Um, yeah, Harry Potter was a big one for me. a child called It, and a man named Dave. Those were big ones for me to see, individuals in spaces and learn to create worlds with their mind to help them escape and all the different things. Like that was very, inspiring to me. I don't know why I was on Karen for so long, but that's Karen in a nutshell. My bad, y'all. I went on a little spiral real quick. As far as your heart goes, your sidereal, we're dealing with Chiron on the cusp of mutable and fixated at 20 degrees, 27 minutes. Chiron's still being in retrograde with the rest of them. Sitting in Pisces in the eighth house ruled by Aquarius. So, while it's in your mind, this space of creating your wounds into a superpower, it's creating new beginnings and transformation in your life and stuff like that. As far as in your heart, is really just tapping into spirit, tapping into your inner spirituality, your inner God, and um, making a decision if you're going to flow with the stream of all else or if you're going to go a different way on the current. Still creating transformation, some type of activist organization. Either you're joining one or you're creating one for that specific like trauma you're dealing with. As far as the declination chart, we're dealing with 7 degrees 55 minutes. Chiron is moving north in Pisces in the 8th house. And then we started the week with Ceres. Ceres is an asteroid and a dwarf planet. It's also known as Iris. So if you're interested in following Iris around, this is the energy of the nurturing and the nurturer. Food, agriculture, cooking is all associated with this because these are all forms of nurturing. Custody. If you're looking at your natal chart, what custody in your journey is going to look like, custody over self, as far as who has custody over you, who do your custody over your children, etc. And then mother-daughter relationships, maternal type interactions, daughter type interactions, stuff like that. Now, Ceres spends about 4 months in each sign for the most part. It's sitting in 19 degrees, so it's in fixated Leo energy in the 12th house. The 12th house being ruled by Cancer. Definitely being tapped into your inner child in this space, especially as a parent, tapping into your inner child so you can interact with your actual child a little bit better, utilizing those empathy skills. A lot of us get so caught up in empathizing with adults, we forget how to empathize with our own children because we just want to do everything with adults and remove ourselves. A lot of people spend a lot of time running away from their kids instead of learning how to create stronger bonds and more entertaining bonds with their children. That's weird. We're just gonna stop doing that. Also tapping into your creative self. What were you good at creating when you did create, when you did like the draw, when you did make time for those things? What were you doing the most with that time and space and stuff like that? 12th house, we already know is associated with humanitarian pursuits. Coming back to that mind space of just like creating like a safe net for these children, which in turn helps the parents, uh, with when they can't be present. Some of us have children that we don't completely understand, but there's another adult out there who will to a certain extent, and it's just like having that extra branch on the infrastructure tree is very helpful. Now, as far as our heart set goes, we're dealing with 24 degrees, 20 minutes, Cancer, 12th house Cancer. So again, just tapping into maternal energy, nurturing. This is a great time for harvest for all my gardeners out there, my farmers out here. That's heavy agriculture energy going on right there, which is cool because the soil is getting ready for it. The soil is getting wet again, moistening up right before it starts to get frozen, but opening up well enough for you guys to start laying down your seeds. They'll be frozen for a little bit in the wintertime, and then when the spring comes, they will have so much moisture that they've been frozen inside with that it's time to open up. So this is a good time to start planting things with that mother agriculture seed planting mentality. Um, I wish I would have started like my elderberry and stuff in the spring so that by now I could have the cough syrups. I'm still like going back and forth and debating like how I'm going to do that. I'm not sure yet, because I'm not in a space that I want to be to fully like grow my garden. But that's my perfectionist getting in my way. It doesn't look the way I want yet, so I'm not trying to do it at all. Um, I'm getting better with that. We'll see how far it goes, but I really look forward to getting into a space where I'm growing my own food and stuff. As far as declination chart goes, we're dealing with the cusp of fixated immutable energy. A lot of energy is at the cusp as far as like the declinations in the sidereals go, but we're at 20 degrees 42 minutes north in Cancer energy in the 12th house. Now, Pallas is an asteroid. It deals with the arts, wisdom, genius qualities that you may overlook in self defense, justice, strategy, and this is more geared towards like the father son type relationships or energy or whatever, what have you. Um, Palace is sitting at 29 degrees, so it's at that degree of closing. And it's sitting in Gemini in the 11th house. 11th house being ruled by Gemini energy. So just community vibes. Still coming back. 11th house is associated with Aquarius energy, so that's revolutionary activism and stuff like that. Revolutionary space for the community, communicating those things, still building those things. And Palace is still sitting in Gemini in the sidereal chart too. So this is also in your heart set. Learning how to defend these spaces. Our men need to start coming together a little bit more. It comes with the father son energy of men coming together more and creating more defense areas for a lot of these nurturing and maternal spaces. Um, a lot of our men have gotten spoiled in sitting in these maternal spaces and forgot that they had to be the paternal space in the maternal space. And instead, they kind of just sat down and played with their thumbs and crossed their legs. And that's cool, for a certain amount of time. Now, after a while, like these maternal spaces need protection. They need that masculine structure. They need those things. Otherwise, you'll be calling for the maternal to do those things herself, and that's not appropriate. Then there will be no space for you. And if there's no space for the paternal, there is no respect for the paternal. Ashe. Um, and we'll just be perpetuating another, terrible cycle of we don't need the physical man because we have the spiritual man within us, and we do. However, your energy is still needed and called on. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So, do do what you're supposed to be doing here doing. And that's for Palace and that Gemini energy. And Palace is moving south, on the declination chart at 8 degrees, 45 minutes. Still in Gemini, still in the 11th house. Juno is an asteroid. It's associated with Hera. I'm sure you guys are aware of Hera. That was Zeus's wife. That was doing the most. That's that mindset that whatever my man does is cool. I'm just gonna keep beating on the kids that he keep having and the side chicks he keep having, and that's logic. But this energy gives a little insight. It's good. It's a representation of wounds and loyalty and attachment, and just like if you're looking at it from your natal chart, these are the traits or qualities that you need to experience in order for you to move forward in a union or a marriage or some type of relationship, some type of conception. Juno is at 15 degrees 40 minutes. Juno is also a retrograde in Pisces in the seventh house. This house is being ruled by Aquarius energy. So, I see a lot of people, upping their needs for unions and bonds. Like it has to be within the spiritual realm. It has to be, if I'm going to date someone, they have to be spiritual. They have to be tapped into spirit. They have to, be living this kind of lifestyle, that kind of mindset. Same thing with friendships, partnerships, entering organizations, entering contracts. New contracts that we're creating are more of the spiritual sort, especially those of you that are moving towards like the sovereign realm of things. That is a lot of bonds will be created of the spiritual sort by you, putting the El Bay Ali at the end of your name. You have to join the, do things through the temple. I'm not a fan of people just putting Bay, El, and Ali on their name on social media and they're not really living the life. I'm not a fan of people not going through the rites of passage to get that done. Why? Because I'm a person of structure. I'm a Capricorn stellium as well. So I believe in structure. I believe in organization, and I believe in discipline. And I think someone just waking up one morning deciding to just, I'm just going to stick that on my name because that's how I feel today. Like, I think that's lawless energy, and I don't like chaos. I don't like chaos in my space. My kids will tell you, don't do that. Don't do the chaos in my space. I like order. If it's not in order, then I don't respect it. So someone coming to me just saying like, "Oh, I just felt like putting it on my name because that's how I feel," I'm not going to respect it because I went through the proper channels. Me and my children did what we were supposed to do to get that done, and we'll continue to do the things that we got to do to get to the next step. Otherwise, we're just not going to get to the next step. That's just how I am. That's just who I am. Other people, you're more than welcome to be who you are. You just can't do it in my space. Can't do that shit in my orbit. I'm not with that shit. But if you're moving in the spiritual realm, you will find yourself making more bonds that are according to like where your spirit is at. Because I am the way I am and I won't tolerate anything else, that's what my spirit is attracting. My spirit won't allow me to attract anybody else or anything else that's doing anything otherwise. I'm not interested, and it'll show in my energy. It'll show in how I respond to you. It'll show in all those different things. As far as like, romantic pursuits, yeah, you have to have a certain kind of mentality, a certain level of spirituality. Your spirit has to be in a certain kind of place or time for me to be acceptance of you on a romantic sense, on a friendship sense. Even associates have to sit up to a certain standard in my realm. I just have that in me. I have that on me. Everybody can't sit at my table. I'm very picky with who sits at my table, and I'm very picky who sits at my children's table. Like, I'm picky with who gets to stand up in my room, who even gets to enter the threshold. I'm picking on all of that, as I should be, as you all should be. It's important. Um, and that's just what it is over here. I'm just giving you guys examples. You do that with what you will. Seventh house deals with one-on-one relationships, so that's where I was going. That's why I picked specific relationships because it's seventh house. I don't think I explained that. But as far as the sidereal, your heart said we're dealing with the cusp again at 20 degrees 37 minutes retrograde in Aquarius, seventh house retrograde, and that's pretty cool. Um, with a certain level of detachments occurring, social detachments, revolutionary ideas, speaking and stuff like that. You see a lot of people going celibate. A lot of people saying, "Well, I'm just not going to be in a relationship till certain things are in order." A lot of women in this space and time are not beat no more. Like, I'm not going to date. I'm not getting married. I'm not doing nothing until I feel safe as a woman around men, period. And if you're not assisting and creating a safe space for women to exist, period, then no, I'm not dating none of y'all. None of y'all get a piece of me. It's some, it's a lot of that energy I see growing rampant. Some energies people just like, I'm just not interested in this romance no more because it's not conducive to like my walk in life. Like, I'll play with y'all. I'll let my sacral chakra flow a little bit here and there, but like, I'm not playing with y'all. If that makes sense. Now, as far as the declination chart is, we're at the cardinal energy at 3 degrees 28 minutes. Juno is moving south in Aquarius, seventh house, so that's fun. Vesta is an asteroid. This is our passion, our inner nun. This is where your devotion is. Now, the story of the Vestas, the Vestal virgins, they had to spend 30 years out of their life, had to stay virgins and control and protect the fire, the Vestal fire that a goddess has set aflame centuries ago, lifetimes ago. And, even though Vestal virgins had to stay virgins and they couldn't do things and stuff like that, they were devoted to protecting the fire with their innocent energy. At the same token, they were treated like VIP. It wasn't even like they were treated bad. Like, everywhere they went, they were like bowed down to. They were treated very well. It wasn't like an abusive situation. Like, some people didn't want to be appointed to it. Don't get me wrong, and maybe they didn't have a choice. And yeah, you do get stoned if you decide to give up sex anyway. And we're caught. But like, and I can only imagine how many women didn't get caught. Like, I wonder about that. But yeah, it's about devotion. So wherever Vesta is in your chart, that's where you're devoted at. That's where your devotion lies. My Vesta is in Gemini, so I'm devoted to my community. There is no off button. It's so annoying. I'm so addicted to healing people and helping people and communicating and the traveling of all that and doing multiple things at the same time. It's an addiction. It's terrible. Oh my God, it's so bad. Vesta is currently in retrograde. It's slowing down a little bit. It's in that mutable energy at 26 degrees 29 minutes in Aquarius in the seventh house. So people's inner passions being like tapped into activism, doing for others, that social rebellion energy, also those one-on-one relationships and creating justice and balance on the balance scales in alignment with my that seventh house flow. As far as the sidereal chart, we're dealing with Vesta being at the cardinal energy of Aquarius, seventh house, and declination chart is 21 degrees 34 minutes south. So we're moving south down with Vesta, but also sitting in that revolutionary energy, that activist energy, and it's sitting in creating balance and fairness and justice. So I'm excited about that, especially those that are really tapped into this energy and putting forth that vibe. As far as Aries goes, Aries is a dwarf planet. It's the planet of discord, lack of harmony. It's the planet that's outside of Pluto, so this marks the 10th planet. It's the feminine energy of Mars. It's as far as your natal chart goes, this is one's rebellious side. Protest and activism right now is the realm. Aries is at 24 degrees 50 minutes retrograde in Aries, ninth house being ruled by Aries, so bringing on new beginnings, traveling. Ninth house associated with Sagittarius energy of higher education, traveling, foreign education, and all those different things like that. Um, this has been in this space since 1926. So, and then that makes sense because the 1920s was like a heavy energy of activism, activists coming out, even sitting in the shadows of Aries, entering Aries energy has been like, you know, I would say interesting, like the late 1800s, like the 1880s and the 1890s was like a big energy like shift as far as activism and people being more in tuned in that way, shape or form. And that's pretty cool, interesting. Uh, but yeah, it's bring lack of harmony and a discord and stuff like that. Uh, Aries, as far as your sidereal heart set goes, Aries is still sitting in Pisces energy. It's at the 29 degrees, 47 minutes in retrograde Pisces, ninth house being ruled by Pisces. So the discord, like a harmony, has been with spirit and the heart. And that's valid too. You know, people doing whatever they want. Different interpretations of spirit is always good, but when you feel yourself rebelling against spirit or kind of like on some like hatred type energy, you got your magnet tuned to being rebellious against that energy. It could cause a little shift going on within self. As far as our declination chart, we're at 0 degrees, so we're literally entering Pisces energy with the Aries space of discord or lack of harmony. People's rebellious space being in that space of like going against the grain, going against what everybody else is doing, or really trying super hard to do what everything else is doing, because you know Pisces is the fish of duality, so you're either going against what people doing or you're for it. And then it's like a lot of internalizing, a lot of empathizers, so it's expect like a big, and that's why I come back to the mindset that like telepathy is about to pull through, because the empathy will be like super strong with like a lot of Aries and Pisces energy. Like that's heavy empathetic energy right there. You know, Pisces energy kind of like takes on and absorbs everything that is going on around them. You know what I mean? So I find that interesting. You know, fish just do whatever the water is doing. You know, I don't really think too much outside of that. I find that fascinating. So fortune, the fortune is like the signifier of prosperity, and this is actually calculated by intersecting that by the intersecting lines of like the sun's ecliptical, the moon's ecliptical, and the rising, which we know is the east horizon line. So it's like wherever those 3 points, those three lines meet, that's where the fortune is, the prosperity is, and it's at the cardinal energy of Pisces. So it's just like, man, just meditate, tap into spirit, get your spiritual tools, tap into your spiritual gifts, start spreading spirituality, find your tribe. It's billions of people in the world. To think that you have any type of competition with finding your tribe is beyond me. You don't. You can have like 10 to 20 people and be well off, probably well better off than some people that got hundreds and thousands of people. It's not about numbers. I think we get confused with these numbers and we forget that these numbers is sounds too. Everything is sounds and frequencies. Don't get caught up in numbers and comparison. Just talk about numbers as far as sounds and frequencies. Like 20 is cool, 2 is duality. We got upstream, downstream. Let's go. 100 is cool, 100 is still a one though. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in the comparison of numbers. It's not. Oh yay! My customer got her package today. Don't get caught up in things like that. It's not necessary. But that's where we started the week. Now, as far as the week goes, yesterday we started with the waxing gibbous moon at 76%. The moon rose at 4:32 p.m. and set at 12:27 a.m. in Capricorn. The moon and cause Borealis were at minimal angle. Venus and Regulus were at minimal angle. As far as cause Borealis is in the Sagittarian constellation. So even though the moon was in Capricorn zodiac, it was in the Sagittarius constellation. That gives you like more of an insight on like the sidereal and tropical zone. And Cos Borealis is the energy of Jupiter and Mars, which gives off the energy of ambition, pride, power, business. Good time to get some type of business organization and stuff going on with the moon and Cos Borealis being a minimal angle in conjunction yesterday. Now, as far as Venus and Regulus, Regulus is the brightest star in the Leo constellation. It gives off the energy of glory, riches, power. It's a royal star. It's a part of the four horsemen of stars, which was Regulus, Fomalhaut, Antares, and Aldebaran. Those are the four horsemen stars. This is one of them, being a royal star, and it's called the King, Little King, Prince. It gives off the energy of Mars and Jupiter. It brings on the energy of military honor, generosity, ambition, being fond of power and independent. With Venus and that star being um in minimal angle, like for some of you guys, just be mindful of some type of disappointment in your pursuits of things. A little bit of trouble in love. Just it's not always crazy. It depends on how much you move like with it, right? um, some level of violent attachment coming to the forefront, something like that. The maximum south declination of the moon occurred yesterday as well. Fomalhaut was opposite the sun at 11. That was another one of our four horsemen stars. This was the best visibility of the year. So yesterday was really the day of the four horsemen, to keep it 100 with y'all. That sparked on that space. Fomalhaut is the brightest star in the southern fish of Pisces. It gives off the energy of Venus and Mercury. So think about those two energies coming together. You're definitely dealing with Pentacles heavy, definitely dealing with bougie energy, intellectual, pleasure seeking, being psychic and neat and refined, most definitely. And it's a white star. So that white star is in the next octave of our chakras. So you're dealing with above the crown chakra type energy with the EMF off this star. Definitely tapping into spirit on that one. The activity of Epsilon Perseus started yesterday at 5 an hour. The Epsilon Perseus come from the Perseus constellation, so giving us the EMFs of Perseus, which is water, which is dealing with spirit, spirituality, tapping the spirit. Definitely a good time for meditation while Epsilon Perseus is on this doing this thing this week. Because it's not a very long meteor shower. It doesn't last that long. And then Venus entered Virgo yesterday as well. I was tired. I was sleepy yesterday. I won't say that I don't deal with planetary transitions well. It's more so like when planetary transitions occur, I be tired. I go to sleep. I'm an earth sign. As far as today goes, we're still in the waxing gibbous moon at 85%. The moon rose at 5:28 p.m. Well, the moon will rise in a few minutes, in like 20 minutes, and then the moon will be setting at 1:31 a.m. Still in the Capricorn zodiac. The sun rose this morning at 6:31 a.m. and the sun will be setting at 7:22 p.m. Juno is opposite the sun at 7:26 a.m., which was the best visibility of the year, and we know Juno is aligned with Hera about attachments and stuff like that. And then the sun is in Virgo right now, Virgo Leo energy. So, and my Virgos Leos out there, be mindful of certain attachments coming to the forefront. Um, the moon and Pluto are in conjunction. Well, they were at 3:06 p.m. The moon was 3.3 degrees south. The minimal angle was at 3:15 p.m. with the moon at 3.3 degrees south. And now that's actually observable tonight at 9:05 p.m. You'll be able to see the moon and Pluto. They'll have a 4.3 degree southeast separation. The moon also enters the sixth house today, ruled by Capricorn energy. Gang, gang. Sixth house is like your daily routines, health, and wellness. So definitely feeling an inclination to create some type of order, structure on your schedule and stuff like that. I definitely did that when I rose. September 7th, which is tomorrow, we're still in the waxing gibbous moon at 93%. The moon will rise at 6:13 p.m. and set at 2:45 a.m. In the Capricorn energy. Sunrise will be at 6:32 a.m. and set at 7:21 p.m. Mars in Aldebaran will be at minimal angle at 7:15 a.m. Mars is 4.3 degrees north. You can observe that at 5:55 a.m. with a 4.3 degree north separation. We know Mars is in I said Mars was in Taurus energy. Where did I say Mars was at? Me and my papers together. Mars is in Gemini energy. Excuse me. So that community energy in the 10th house of aspirations and achievement is going to be in alignment with Aldebaran, which is the star, and Taurus energy. It gives off the energy of honor, intelligence, and courage. Beginning of a large political undertaking. So watch politics tomorrow. Watch the politics news, whatever rules or whatever is going on. Also, a good day to organize some level of business to attract some pinnacles tomorrow as well. It's a good time for business phone calls and communication, which is cool too because tomorrow's Wednesday anyway. So tomorrow's already ruled by that Mercurian energy. Community communication, and then you got the Gemini energy in that space. That's fun. Gemini and Taurus energy is always fun. The morning visibility of Leo begins tomorrow too, so you'll be able to see Leo on the outside itself and be able to tap into that inner child spirit a lot stronger with the stars being brighter. The moon will be the smallest distance to the earth at 2:16 p.m., which is cool because the full moon gonna be nice and juicy for us. Juno will reach the maximum brightness at 6:06 p.m. And then you may be able to catch the moon volcanoes as the horizon of the moon is shifted tomorrow as well because it'll be so close. They had all these special titles for it, but to tell you in layman's terms, like we'll be close to see the line of horizon on the moon. As far as September 8th goes, that's Thursday, right? Yeah. We'll still be in a waxing gibbous moon at 98%. The moon will rise at 6:50 p.m. and set at 4:03. We'll be in Aquarius zodiac energy. The sun is going to rise at 6:33 a.m. and set at 7:19 p.m. The north pole of the moon will be tipped into view at 12:59 a.m. The moon and Saturn will be at minimal angle at 9:15. The moon will be 4 degrees south-southeast. You can observe that at 3:45 a.m. with a 5.7 degree south-southwest separation. And then conjunction will occur at 7:36 a.m. with the moon at 4.2 degrees south. So that's fun. Both of them sitting up in Aquarius energy, living their best life. Remind you that Saturn is indeed in retrograde. The moon and Deneb Al-Jildi will be in conjunction at 12:48 p.m. The moon will be 3 degrees south. Deneb Al-Jildi is a star in the Capricorn constellation. It gives off the energy of Saturn and Jupiter, being dignified and conservative. It's located on the tail of the goat, bringing the energy of happiness. This also rules over the blood vessels and the nerve connections. Mars and Aldebaran will be in conjunction at 8:46 p.m. Mars will be 4.3 degrees north. Yeah, I said that right. And just to remind you, Aldebaran is the brightest star in Taurus. This is the eye of Taurus. And it's giving off the energy of honor and intelligence. Just pretty much still giving off the energy that it gave us on Wednesday with the community and communication energy and Aldebaran's intellectual energy and all that stuff being on the forefront. Good time to read some books, listen to some really intelligent podcasts, have some really good business and political conversations. Anybody want to have any meetings on anything? Wednesday and Thursday is a good day to do that. The moon also enters the seventh house, which is ruled by Aquarius on Thursday as well. On September 9th, now we're dealing with Friday. We'll deal with the 99% full moon. The moon will rise at 7:21 p.m. and set at 5:20 a.m. The sun will rise at 6:34 a.m. and set at 7:17 p.m. Mercury will be stationary on Friday at 12:05 p.m. before the retrograde. So on Friday, if you can catch yourself between 12 and 12:15 and just meditate, you'll be in alignment with Mercury deciding to go in retrograde. September 10th, we'll be dealing with our full moon at 100%. The moon will rise at 7:48 p.m. and set at 6:35 a.m. So we have our full moon on the 9th and the 10th, which is super fun because y'all know I love my nines. So that's a cool time to deal with the Pisces full moon. This is also the corn moon and the harvest moon. So this is an awesome time to plant corn if you're a corn farmer or you like to grow corn and you want to get into it. I think I want to try it. I'm going to try to grow some corn this year. See what happens, because corn can do a lot of shit. The sun will rise at 6:35 a.m. and set at 7:16 p.m. The full moon occurs at 6 a.m. The moon and Neptune will be in conjunction at 2:28 p.m. The moon is 3.7 degrees south. Minimal angle at 7:12. Minimal angle will occur at 4:12 p.m. The moon will be 3.5 degrees south southeast, and you'll be able to observe that at 8:32 p.m. with a 4.3 south southeast separation. So you'll be able to see the moon and Neptune at 8:32 p.m. and it's gonna look real pretty. It's real nice. And remind you that Neptune is in retrograde. Both of these energies will be in Pisces. Definitely a beautiful time to tap into some level of meditation, grounding yourself, especially. Why? Because that day, was that Saturday? That's a big day for meteor showers too. We actually have three different things going on. You have the alpha Argents reaching their end of activity. The alpha Argents come from the Argus constellation, which is quote for charioteer. So that's cardinal energy leading, also dealing with force horsemen on the first chariot. Just like traveling period is definitely a good space. So it's a good time to travel. It's a good time to manifest, moments of traveling, stuff like that. Epsilon Perseids will reach their max activity at 5 an hour. It's not really a lot, but they're actually really bright, so that's fun. Bringing in the energy of Perseus. Perseus was a warrior. Perseus, saved people, actually cared about the community and people. Definitely a deep water energy, a part of the water constellations. And then the activity of Southern Taurus begin at 5 an hour, and then they're going to reach their max activity on that day as well. So, you know, this week is definitely a good time to go outside and ground yourself into the energies of all the meteor showers that are going on. Taurus come out, and that's pleasure seeking energy. Fine tune that sacral chakra. Stop being led by your sacral chakra and learn how to discipline it and tell it no and stuff like that. That's a good time to tap into like some type of disciplinary energy with that. Now, September 11th, we deal with the wine and gibbous moon at 96%. Now we're dealing with the moon starting to disappear back into the new moon. So now we're getting into the energy of wrapping things up, wrapping up our goals, different things we were working on, stuff like that, preparing ourselves for the next new moon. Um, the moon will rise at 8:13 p.m. and set at 7:47 a.m. Will be in Pisces energy still. The sunrise will be at 6:36 a.m. I think that's a dope ass number. And the sun will be setting at 7:14 p.m. So we lose a good like 10, 15 minutes of sunlight this week. And that's pretty much what's been happening. Like over the weeks, we'll be losing 10 to 15 minutes a week. Um, Excuse me. The moon and Jupiter will be in conjunction at 11:59 a.m. The moon will be 2.2 degrees south. Minimal angle will occur at 1:01 p.m. with the moon at 2.1 degrees south southeast, and you'll be able to observe that at 6:11 a.m. with a 5.1 southwest separation. So that's exciting. Just the moon, Jupiter has been popping all month of August, so to see the moon and Jupiter together at the same time, it looking really pretty. I could imagine that being like a really beautiful sight to see, and picture a bit of a blue tint on the moon around that time, because we know Jupiter is a beautiful blue color. September 12th, we're dealing with a wine and gibbous moon at 91%. The moon will rise at 8:37 p.m. and the moon will be setting at 8:57 a.m. Now the moon will be entering Aries zodiac energy. The sunrise will be at 6:37 a.m. and setting at 7:13 p.m. So aside from Mercury going in retrograde on Friday, our full moon, I don't even like to say that we don't really have any celestial events, but we've had crazier weeks. This is one of our lighter weeks, but it's a lot of meteor shower energy going on this week. And I definitely advise you guys going outside and grounding yourself and just meditating on that. Don't forget to meditate at 12 p.m. on Friday, because at 12:05 is when Mercury goes stationary before it starts its retrograde. So just meditate on different decisions that you want clarity on. Be grateful that Mercury gets to slow down for us to catch up and rehash some decisions that we made and make new decisions. Mercury energy is also the energy of patterns. So you're going to find yourself going through patterns and experiencing patterns again. to see if you're going to make this different decisions or the same decisions. Now, some of them you're going to want to make the same decision. Like, you know what, I really feel confident how this wasn't the first time we're going to do this again. But then some of them is like, just be grateful you get to experience this again to make a different decision. You know, it's not gloom and doom. You be mindful how you channel your third eye and what you attract. So that's the planetary forecast for the week. Just to remind you of the retrogrades that we'll be having. Starting Friday, Mercury will be added to this collection. However, prior to Friday, we got Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, True Node, the Ascendant energy, Lilith, Chiron, we also have Vesta. These are all Vesta and Aries are all in retrograde at this time, giving us an opportunity to slow down and tap into those and really sit in those spaces. A lot of them are in Aquarius, Aries, and Pisces energies. So be mindful of that. This week we got the moon sitting in Capricorn, Aquarius, and ending the week in Pisces energy. So we'll be beginning next week in a nice Pisces vibe. And it's all very exciting. I'm excited to create a level of infrastructure for myself, getting myself back in order, back into a schedule of things, especially getting my children back onto like a homeschool schedule and taking away those screens and, finding a new schedule for myself as I put my energy back into my business because I quit my job. They was wild. They wasn't trying to pay a system, and they wasn't trying to give me no hours. And then I wasn't really trying to get no hours neither because I really just want my business. I just want my business. So just like learning how to organize my time better, my space, my mindset, and all the different stuff. I'm grateful. I'm also grateful that I'm in Facebook jail right now, so I don't have no distraction. It's like blocking me. It's annoying because it like when you're in a jail, it kind of like removes you from algorithms, and then you gotta like go back in and start all over again with being seen. But like, I'm glad that I don't have that space available to me right now to like distract myself when I gotta get other things done. You know what I mean? So that's what I have for y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in with me today. Enjoy the sun going down in like 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, the sun will be on. Observe the moon and Pluto tonight at 9:05. That's going to be fun. Tap into, make intentions of what you want to feel transformation in. In what ways would you like to sit in your power? In what ways do you see like rebirth happening in your life? And all those different things, just like moving in gratitude always is just like always the best experience and the best advice I can give you. Like, even when things are moving in a way that you don't fully understand and you're not fully appreciative because you don't understand or you feel like it's happening to you or you're being punished, just remember that feeling punished is an indoctrination because we've been groomed to believe that certain things are supposed to happen in our favor, and when it's not, we're being punished. And that's not necessarily the case. Everything is always in our favor. So learn to think about how things are in your favor when they're happening. Like, you know what? I'm glad this is happening because this is teaching me this. This is giving me an opportunity to do that. This is, giving me light on this situation or that space or, all that different stuff. So that's what I have for you guys today. Um, thank you guys for tapping in. All right. Peace, y'all.